Hello and good morning everyone. I thought I would show you my morning meeting room. Here are three chairs for me and my two imaginary friends. Actually, I do have two furry friends, two cats, and perhaps I should put them on video. I think people like cats, so maybe I'll do that. But yeah, I'm just standing here. It's very cold actually. It's really cold. There's my cup of coffee, and someone has put some shells there. Anyway, yeah, this is what I'm looking at, and in a moment I will link this to the video. So bye for now. And look who arrived. This is Rosie. Where the other one is, I don't know, but yep, here is Rosie. Actually, before I start the video this morning, I thought it might be more interesting, a bit of a break, to walk along to the portal. The portal is back of the garden. It's the thing I walked through the other day. I just thought that people might be sick of my face, and if I walk and talk, this might be interesting. And you can see some fresh air and trees and a bit of the country. Apparently, some people like looking at the countryside and things that grow and nature, that sort of thing, and I must admit I really do like it. And I think I'd said in another video, I'm from the north of England, so I am a big fan of the country. I'm not really a city person, even though I do live in London, and I've lived in a few cities around the world, so I understand that the attraction to a city, and cities do have, you know, a lot of benefits, a lot of opportunities. But if I'm really honest, I'm really a country person, and I'm also someone that, you know, I don't need to be with people all the time. I'm the sort of person that I'm happy with an internet connection, actually. So, you know, I suppose I'm Mark Zuckerberg's target audience, his new metaverse. And I don't know if you've seen Ready Player One, but that's basically what Mark Zuckerberg is trying to produce. Well, it's what he is producing, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that turns out. So, yeah, and I've realised I'm rambling, so I'll stop there and I'll spin the camera around. So, good morning, everyone, and again, it appears that we have another COVID pill, and this one is made by Pfizer. The molnupiravir is made by Merck. Interestingly, Merck's also the company that makes ivermectin. But so Pfizer have released their magic COVID pill. And I think this one is even more expensive than the $700 for 10 molnupiravir. And so I do find it interesting that in the space of a week, we have these two new wonder pills that, if you watch the mainstream media, you know, again, they quote these figures of 80-something% effective, and I think the Pfizer hits the 90s. Now, anyone that knows anything about statistics and data, anything above 90 means it's, you know, it really does work. But they said that about the vaccines. In fact, if we go back a few months, to when they were pushing the initial launch of the double jab, we had straplines in the media like 96% effective. And the indication was you receive the vaccine and you are immune, you're safe, and you can't transmit it. Then months later, when people that are double jabbed are reporting COVID symptoms, the media changed its tune. Yes, it is still safe and effective, but now with the double jab, what this means is that if you get poorly, you won't be as poorly. Now, how on earth they can prove that, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they can prove it, but just think about that. Here we have this killer virus. Starts off in China, it's killing people, and we see that footage of bodies in the streets. It moves to Europe, they close down Italy. A lot of old people die in Italy. They don't really talk about that. But then, many people were getting COVID. Yes, some old people that were already ill, it's called comorbidities, were dying, and you could argue they were going to die anyway. And, COVID might have been the cause, might not. But you can see how this how it's unpacked. We start off with killer virus, and the cure is the double jab. Double jab comes along, and let's just go back a second. Initially, get double jabbed, you are protected. Your life will be back, and if everybody else gets the double jab, life will be back to normal in no time. The vaccine is the savior. But months later, people being double jabbed were getting COVID still. And I actually believe today there are some studies, and they are reporting that the people with COVID, the double jabbed and the unvaxxed, the numbers are the same. Now, that is absolutely fantastic, because that means the vaccine is not effective. But then they will claim, yes, it is effective, because if you get COVID, you're going to have the symptoms much less. So I am quite sure in these studies, how do they get people with COVID? Do they go walk down the streets and ask people, do you have COVID? Yes, I do, actually. Are you double jabbed? Yes, I do. Would you like to be in a test, in a study? Yes, I would. The next person, hey, have you got COVID? Yes, I have COVID. Are you double jabbed? No, I'm unvaxxed. Would you like to be in a study? Yes, I would. And I imagine they sit them in a room. A is the vaxxed, B is the unvaxxed, and they must say to them, how poorly are you? And I imagine it varies from, well, it's like the cold, but I have no taste and smell, to, I'm dying. And I don't know how you really go about that. Okay, so maybe I'm, being a little harsh and I'm not taking this seriously, but you get my point. So we come along to this, status quo that we're at right now. It seems that roughly 60% of the population has been vaxxed, and the vaccination rate is really slowing down. What that means is 40% of the population aren't buying it, and they don't want the vaccine. And I bet you most of that 40% have never had COVID. In fact, I have seen some statistics, and I don't want to quote them because the detail won't be right. But the impression I got looking at them was that this 40% of people that are unvaxxed, they've also never had COVID. I do find that so interesting. Or if they've had it like me, the symptoms were so slight, it was, very debatable. Anyway, I've got... Anyway, let me get back to this pill. So, the media would have you believe, a few months ago, you get the vaccine, you're safe. Now, you get the vaccine, you're not safe, but you're safer if you get COVID. It's like saying... having this vaccine makes no difference, but it does make a difference if you get COVID, because if you don't have the vaccine, you're going to be really ill. You're going to be much ill if you're unvaxxed. If you're vaxxed, you won't be as ill. as poorly. There we go. I think that sounds better. So that's a nice situation to be in, because once again you've got the general public confused. You've got a very mixed message, and you've got half the population divided, which is quite cool because, and remember, to control a people, you need to divide them. And then the thing that divides them, you need to control and then provide a solution. That's how you control the population. I know it sounds so simple, but believe me, historians will talk about this, and people that have looked at military powers and conflicts around the world, they've arrived at this conclusion. It's very simple and it works. Anyway, so let's get back to this pill. So the media will, all of a sudden, we have this situation, if you get double jabbed and plus the booster, and as we go into next year, it'll be the second booster. That'll be 4 jabs in the space of 10 months, I think, 12 months. So we have a situation where there's unvaxxed people and there's vaxxed. Being vaxxed makes no difference whatsoever to you catching COVID. And COVID could be as a cold. I mean, you could even have it, well, if you're young and you have COVID, you probably will be asymptomatic. You won't even know you've got it. The unvaxxed seem to be okay. Okay, that's my opinion. I can't prove that right now. But all of a sudden, we've got this wonder pill. Now, we know people love a good pill, to fix things, I mean, you can imagine someone that's double jabbed, not feeling too good. They go to their GP. They can't go to their GP because in the United Kingdom, the NHS capability has been reduced by 75%. And they're only now trying to get face-to-face consultations back in. So let's say you get your GP on Zoom. Actually, it won't be a GP. It'll be a nurse. It'll be somebody else. So you get somebody else, and you can imagine how the Zoom call's going to go. Hi, medical person. The name's Stephen. Not feeling too good. It might be COVID. I've done the COVID test, and of course it says negative, but I definitely have no taste and no smell. And the health person's going to say, that sounds like COVID to me. So don't worry about the lateral flow test and the PCR test that you've done that have both come back negative. This can happen, but don't worry, we have a solution. It's the COVID pill. Now, I don't know exactly who's paying for this COVID pill. If you're in Singapore, you have to, because if you're unvaccinated, they won't treat you. You have to pay for your healthcare if you're unvaxxed. In fact, let's quickly go to Singapore. Right, so you're unvaccinated, but you do not have COVID. And you're out with your mate on your motorbikes, and he's double vaxxed. But the pair of you did a PCR test that morning because you're into that sort of thing. And you're both negative, and you jump on your motorcycles and you go for a cruise around Singapore. And you both crash into each other. So, and it was because there was a bit of dirt on the road, so it's not your fault. But both, you crash, you fall over, and you both break a leg. You're rushed into hospital, and just imagine if you had a chip inside you that they could tell if you were vaxxed or unvaxxed. But anyway, you're conscious, and the ambulance, the paramedic, is able to speak to you, and asks you, hey, by the way, before we help you, before we treat you, we need to ask you a question. Are you vaxxed? And of course, the vaxxed guy will say, yeah, I'm double vaxxed. And they'll go, great. Off you go into A&E, we'll sort you out. And of course, his mate that had done the PCR test with him, both negative, he says, unfortunately, I'm a bit of an au naturel kind of guy. I'm not vaxxed. And they say, sorry, mate, that broke leg of yours, we can't fix it. you're not vaccinated, and you present a danger to us and everybody else around you. I mean, you're basically dangerous. And you would say, hey, but I tested negative this morning with my mate, and I really need your help. I've got a bust leg here. And that policy, I'm really sorry, it's too dangerous. You are potentially too dangerous, and we cannot help you. But if you pull out your credit card, we can help you. Hang on a second. So the virus doesn't seem to work if I have a credit card. That's correct. The virus doesn't work if you have a credit card. Right, so that's the situation in Singapore. So let's get back to the pill. Sorry about that. So you're online, it's a Zoom to this health professional, and they say, okay, well, you're negative and negative. You're, we haven't even mentioned vaccinated or unvaxxed yet. Well, let's just put that aside and let's just deal with this pill situation. So the healthcare professional says, hey, we can fix this. We can give you the COVID pill. And right now the NHS is paying for it, although I can't imagine that happening. And so the NHS is going to be paying Big Pharma, and they'll probably give you a 2-week course first of all. So that's $1,400 to Big Pharma for a pill that might work. It might. And a lot of people are saying that ivermectin is the same thing. I mean, the course of ivermectin would be, I don't know, it would be £14. So maybe they put some great markup on that, like double, so it becomes £28. But no, the NHS don't want to spend £28. They want to spend $1,400 to Big Pharma, because their pill that you have to take 2 of is better. And in the Dr. John Campbell's video, some data that he shows on that piece shows that ivermectin is more effective, and it's 100 times cheaper, but yet they're going to prescribe the expensive one. Now Pfizer's come along, so now we've got 2 horses in the race. Well, 2 horses that one of those is going to win. The third horse, ivermectin, he's not going to win. No chance. Even though he's won every single race against the other 2 so far, this time he ain't going to win. The Pfizer pill will win, or the Merck pill. They're definitely going to win. Now I can hear some bells somewhere, so that means that some animals might be coming my way. So don't worry if you see me in the middle with loads of animals. So back to this pill. So what the point I'm making is, we were told, kill a virus, it's bad, we need to be locked down, and we all were. Along came the cure, the vaccine, and you have to take 2. Things haven't really changed, so along comes a COVID pill. Now you can see what's going on here. The new world that we seem to be having rammed down our necks is, if you do not receive these vaccines every 3 months, and even if you do have the vaccine, the likelihood of you getting COVID is still high. You, in addition, have to have a COVID pill. If you do not have these vaccines and do not take these pills, we will go back to lockdown. This is a new world order. Well, one of the possibilities. I'm just looking for these bells. So, can you see what's happening here? The mood music, or the what sounds to be the intention, is we are looking at a world where you have to be injected and you take a pill. And the injections and the pills might work, they might not. They might save your life, they might not. With them, you might be able to transmit COVID, you might not. Now, can everyone not see the massive problem here? Now, I know that some clever Charlies are going to throw at me a load of science and facts and figures that I believe are made up, but a lot of technical explanation that this is the right thing to do. Vaccines and pills is the way forward. I know that there's an argument there, and you know, fair enough, that's not a problem. I could be wrong, as I said before. And the irony is, you know, I'm not anti-vax. What I know about vaccines, and they do work, and in the past they've worked. You know, I'm not saying that. I'm talking about COVID-19, and I'm talking about this pandemic, and I'm talking about what's going on, and I'm offering you my view, and if you like, a satirical look at you know, the facts and what's happened in the media and what seems to be happening in the general public, the general thought. So at that point, I'm worried that I'm boring everyone silly. But just to recap once again, I'm finding it's becoming a bit of a joke. Take the vaccine, it's safe and effective. Things will go back to normal. So the vaccine comes, people get jabbed, nothing changes. The statistics today, and I think these are proven, show that if you're unvaxxed, vax makes no difference. You seem to get COVID anyway. And also, if you are double vaxxed and you're poorly, you can die. So these claims that if you are vaccinated, you're going to be less poorly, I don't believe it. It's not what I'm seeing. And now we've got this damned pill to deal with. And some people will not have free healthcare. Some people are going to be told, you need the pill. And they're going to be thinking, well, that's $140 a day. And they're going to, you know, they're going to believe in this pandemic and this virus, and they're going to be worried. And they are going to think, okay, well, I'm going to have to find this money. That is $140 a day to stay alive, because that's what they believe. They've fallen for the Kool-Aid in the news media. They really believe this stuff, that you know, they're going to have to find that money. I mean, can we not see the problem here? Can we not see how things appear to be going wrong, going really wrong? And yeah, I am concerned, and I'm worried. I wanted to add a little bit of hope there. The hope is I'm wrong, actually. There we go. This is how I'll end the video. The hope is I am wrong. And the clever Charlies have got this right, and the vaccine, the jabs, combined with pills, is the way out of this, and then things will eventually get back to normal. If I'm wrong, that's going to happen. So let's hope I am wrong, and bye for now.